Hello, it's Alexia here. Now, in this video, I want to talk about the various stages on the tokophobia healing journey. And the reason I think it's important to talk about this is because when you embark on a healing journey and you want to say, oh, I want to get rid of my tokophobia, what does that mean exactly? And sometimes you don't need to get rid of it completely in order to achieve the goal that you have for yourself, which might be to have a baby. So let me just explain what I mean there. So, for example, you might say, I want to get rid of my tokophobia. And actually, when you are completely free of your tokophobia, it means that you have no worries at all about getting pregnant, that you feel excited at getting pregnant. When you're pregnant, you're really excited about the birth. You can't wait. You want to bring it on. You feel all the things. And that might be an outcome that you really, really want to work towards. But others might say, well, I don't care if I'm not super excited. I just want to be able to be okay and not lose my mind so I can have my C-section. I don't want to, feeling excited about having a vaginal birth is not part of I don't care about that. I just want the bare minimum for me is to be okay so that I can have a C-section and feel okay going into that situation. So you see, they're very different end goals those are. So this is why it's important to identify what some of these potential goals are on this healing journey, because the tokophobia healing journey can be incredibly short and you can conquer those fears very, very quickly, or it can extend for quite a period. And it all depends on what's going on for you, how you're going about it, how you're prioritizing it versus other things in your life. I mean, there's so many different variables within that it's very, very hard to predict how long anyone is going to take to be able to conquer their tokophobia. So let me rewind to where where things may start for you. So for a lot of women, it does start at the point where maybe husband has just said, oh, hey, I'd really like to have kids. Should we start trying now? And so maybe the kids conversation has already happened. Maybe when you decided to get married, you both agreed that you did want kids, but that felt so far in the future that you didn't really necessarily, it didn't feel real. And so maybe your fear or phobia wasn't triggered at that point. So let's say now, you've had your fun, you've done your thing. Now husband said, hey, or your partner says, hey, right, now's the time. Should we start now? And then suddenly you're like, oh my God, okay. So this, at this point, for you, it might be that what you really want to be able to get to, because now that you're aware of your phobia, now that you're aware of your fear, suddenly being intimate with your partner suddenly feels really stressful, and that feels really hard, and maybe you can't relax. And so even having sex can be a problem. And this is something I see a lot with women suffering from tokophobia. And so at this stage, there can be lots of checking of, birth control, checking ovulation, tracking ovulation, and tracking your cycle. And there's a lot of that going on to help you to kind of maybe psych yourself up to doing the deed that can then help you get pregnant. So for some women, who are at that early stage of planning, let's say, a first step or a first goal to achieve would be, okay, I want to just be able to have sex and not freak out and be able to relax. And maybe I just want to get off birth control. That could be the first step, because a lot of women struggle to get off birth control because that's too much. That's too much of a risk that they're going to get pregnant, and they're still incredibly fearful of pregnancy. So that could be the first goal. And so then as you move on from that, let's say now you're okay with, you've got off birth control. So the next stage for you then may be to be able to have sex, be able to be intimate with your partner, and to be able to relax in that situation and to have fun and enjoy it in that situation. And so again, that might be there may be some time difference between the getting off birth control and working up towards being able to have intimacy with your partner. And so then there's the trying journey. And so then the next point is, what happens if I get pregnant? So if I get pregnant, so inevitably at that point in the proceedings, there may be times when you think, oh, I might be pregnant. And then, oh, the pregnancy test how will you feel when you see the line on the pregnancy test? How does the idea of being pregnant make you feel? So you might be okay with having sex, but then you think, if I actually got pregnant, I think I'd freak out. So then it's about preparing yourself and being able to say, if I got pregnant, actually, I'd be delighted. No, that's okay. I want to be pregnant. And the thing is, this is a very difficult thing to, on the one hand, you might desperately want to be pregnant, and at the same time, you don't want to be pregnant. It's a very conflicted place to be. So it's about, yes, I want to be pregnant, totally. There's no part of me that doesn't want to be pregnant, okay? So you've got these, already we've got these steps: getting off birth control, being able to have sex, like being able to be pregnant and be okay with that situation. And then there's the pregnancy journey. So how are you feeling being pregnant and the various stages of pregnancy, dealing with the symptoms, potentially, the morning sickness, whatever might happen on that journey, to be able to embrace that and be comfortable with it without being fearful of it. There's one thing that a lot of women with tokophobia suffer from, and that's the idea of a baby growing inside them and then it moving. So maybe another interim goal could be, I just want to be okay feeling my baby move and getting bigger, because the gaining weight, the changing shape, the feeling your baby move inside, all of these can be real triggers for a lot of women. So being comfortable with that. And then as the pregnancy journey continues, and then you start getting closer to the birth, it's now being able to plan the birth. So it could be, I just want a C-section. I don't want anything else. That's just want to be able to get to that. Fine. Then to prepare so that you can enjoy your pregnancy and, prepare, do all the things you need to do to prepare to have a wonderful C-section. Whereas some women are like, no, actually, I really want to have a home birth, or I really want to have a vaginal birth. I really want to go and birth in the birth center. So what is it going to take for you to be comfortable with a vaginal birth? What's it going to take for you to be comfortable with a home birth? So that represents some more healing work, to get from someone that's comfortable with a C-section to a vaginal birth, that represents some more inner work, because a lot of the time when you make a choice to have a C-section, that's because there are still some fears that remain. And the fears are typically around certainty and around control. And so a C-section creates a lot of certainty, because you know when it's going to happen. And even though it's going to hurt, you have a sense of it's going to hurt this much, so I can psych myself up for that. Whereas a vaginal birth, it might not hurt, but it might hurt loads, and it might be a disaster, and it might end up in an emergency C-section anyway. So there's too much uncertainty in all of that. So I'm just going to pin myself down to this certain outcome, which is a C-section on the 12th of June. And then that allows the mind to calm down. Whereas some women do want to have that birth experience that is the home birth, or whatever else that might be. So these represent these kind of different stages on that journey. And each of those stages require healing in between to heal whatever it is that is creating the fear, that is creating the anxiety. So that is an overview of that journey with tokophobia. So it might be that, for some, first of all, they have to get comfortable with getting pregnant. And then once they're comfortable, then then it's about waiting for fertility to do its thing and to get pregnant. And then, so they might go quiet on that healing journey. They've done the healing work, and then they wait until they get pregnant. And suddenly they get pregnant, they become aware of new things, of new fears, of new feelings that maybe they weren't aware of before. So then maybe they dive back into the healing journey at that point, and they continue. And then maybe it comes up again once, they feel okay, then maybe second trimester, then it comes up again near the birth. So everybody's journey is different. Some women find that they're able to conquer their fears and get, within a month, they can get it all done and they're excited for pregnancy and they zip straight to the end. Other women, that's not the situation that they're in. It becomes a much more lengthy process for them. So I hope this has been useful for you to understand what that journey can look like and the various stages that are on that journey. And so that when you do decide to work with somebody to get support on this healing journey, I think it's useful to be able to say, this is what I want out of this experience. This is what I'm expecting. This is what I'd like to achieve. And so that person can then say, okay, based on where you are today, based on what your current situation is, this is what that might look like for you. Because when we're on a healing journey like that, even though there's so many unknowns on a healing journey, we just don't know how long it's going to take to heal things like tokophobia. It can really help to be very clear on what the outcome is that you want, because then it means that everybody is clear on what needs to be done. Okay, so I hope that has been helpful. And if you want my support in helping you to heal yourself of tokophobia, then I'm going to put some links below for my tokophobia support program, which is my most popular one-to-one program, which is over 5 weeks, where we're able to get, well, depends, this is, you know, if you were to work with me, then that's very important to be able to say, this is where I want to be at the end of that 5 weeks. And I'll be able to say to you, okay, based on where you are now, that's realistic or not realistic, but we can at least get you one smidge along that journey, right? So, you know, that's where a conversation is needed to better understand what your situation is and how you feel about pregnancy and birth. So if you're interested, then I'll pop the link below and you can have a look. I've got a more extended 3-month program as well, Fearful to Fearless, and that's for those that maybe need longer because maybe they want to get the whole of that journey done in a short amount of time, or maybe you feel you need a little bit more extra support and healing on your healing journey because of things that you've lived through, or you just want somebody to handhold you in a much more deeper fashion as you progress on your healing journey. Okay, hope that's been helpful. Bye for now.